Welcome to the Nitpicking Nerds and another strategy guide. This time, Grixis.
We're going to show you how to play with it, how to play against it, strengths, and weaknesses.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, dressed just how I previously was. No changes. And that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. If you haven't gotten on board now, the Nitpicking Nerds hype train, we're gonna leave you in the dust if you don't join right now and subscribe.
Yeah, that was a choo-choo if I couldn't make noises because BZ was talking, but get ready. Discord to support us, Patreon to support us. I mean, Discord's more for you. You come hang out with us. We're in there all the time, mostly me sometimes.
If you don't subscribe now, you're going to look like a bandwagon fan, and nobody wants to do that. You got to be one of the original core members. That's cooler.
One of the 15,000 core members.
Are you trying to tell them not to subscribe?
No, I'm just saying that might have been a poor choice of words. But this video, we're talking about Grixis. We're talking about its strengths and its weaknesses. So, I mean, let's hop into it. We're going to start with strengths.
First thing Grixis does pretty darn well is strong interaction, whether it be instant or sorcery speed.
I mean, simple. Removal. Like spot removal. They have plenty of spot removal all over the place. Stuff like Deadly Relic is a great example of spot removal.
Yeah, just I guess to mention, Grixis is red, black, blue. And we'll never have to say that again.
Yeah.
For the rest of the video. It has now been said.
Yes.
Vandal Blast, Toxic Deluge, Fire Covenant, every counterspell. Well, almost every counterspell. The good ones. Cyclonic Rift, Narset's Reversal. There's so many instant and efficient spells. There's just literally like tons of staples in Grixis.
I wonder what percentage of counterspells are within Grixis.
Well, Void Slime. There's like Bant Charm.
There's so few.
Probably like 10 that aren't or something.
Yeah, I mean, you got
Mana Tithe.
Mana Tithe. There's some. I'm just saying. I was wondering what percentage. 'Cause I know, like, even like Tybalt's Trickery within Grixis.
My official guess is 15.
All right.
We're not going to look that up, but that's my guess.
That's fair. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't look it up either.
Right, so if you're Grixis, you're going to be able to handle almost any threat they throw at you. We'll get to what you can't handle later.
Almost.
Almost.
Yes.
What's the second strength?
Well, good card draw. You're in black, you're in blue. These two colors draw so well. We know red struggles with that a bit, but if you have two of the colors, you don't have to worry about leaning on red for its card draw because it's going to do other stuff like destroy artifacts.
Yeah, have you heard of Necropotence? It's actually black, draw 20 cards.
These cards, I mean, absolutely. If you don't know how good that card is, then you haven't played it. Just play it once and you will know.
It's not fair. Treasure Cruise, Dig Through Time, Factor Fiction, even like Dak Fade and Faithless Looting as like really good red filtering.
Yeah, those are filters. I mean, there's a million ways to get card advantage in blue. There's X spells.
Consecrate Sphinx.
There's simple things like Glimmer of Genius, Radical Idea if you're really looking to like do things. It's just there's a million ways within blue to draw cards.
Well, black has all the whenever a creature dies, draw a card, lose a life, or Painful Truths, Night's Whisper. There's just like infinite card draw, and then when you leave blue-black, not a ton. Green is the next best color.
Yeah, green is also very strong, especially if you're in a creature-based deck.
I'm wondering if green is better than black, but I don't know yet.
They're comparable. Next, we have diversity among commanders. There's so many different things that Grixis commanders want to do. Kess wants you to throw spells all around the place. Marchesa wants you to like take their creatures, dethrone, sack them, get them back, weird stuff like that. Marcel puts cage counters to get abilities. So strange.
Nekusar is like group hug / combo kill. If you just wheel 3 times, they're just going to be basically dead, or you stop them from drawing or something. Obeka ends the turn, but you're just going to end your own turn. And then Admiral Becca Brass is like thievery, swapping stuff, and pirate lord. Like none of the commanders are even remotely similar, which is pretty cool. And they're all like orders of magnitude different from the other commanders. There's like 10 or 12 options, and then there's like Croesus. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, no one cares about Croesus at all. You also got a Nala. Wizards, there's so many ways to go. You have 2 different like big tribes in this. You got pirates and you got wizards.
Yeah, the only issue I have with Grixis is like all these decks are so different, but then you're going to still see the same like 20 cards in all of them. I just don't like the massive number of staples that you're kind of drawn to in Grixis.
Yeah.
It like makes it just feel blah.
You got to be careful when deck building these decks because they can end up really boring. Just go Cyclonic Rift, Necropo, and just Dak Fade and just throw them all into a deck. And it's like, wow, that's a good deck, but it's certainly not fun.
I mean, I could list like 35 where you're looking and you think like, that might be an auto include. And just like, well, you don't want to. Then you're going to like, depending on where you're at, you might feel bad because your opponents get to do that, but you decided not to, and then there's like, maybe you should just agree with your playgroup to do certain things. I just don't like, I can't with blue-black. I just can't.
Yeah, you got to actively avoid them if you want to build the decks, or you will end up with too many staples. Fourth, we have resource denial. This is not like counter spells and stuff, but rather stopping your opponents from getting some sort of resource, like Opposition Agent, which prevents them from searching their library.
Not even. It's way worse than that. You search for them, and then you take their best thing, and then they don't have it. Hull Breacher stops draws and gives you treasures. I mean, these two cards are pretty messed up. Hull Breacher is way better. It's way more annoying. I've played that card like twice. It's miserable.
I mean, on the same level of Hull Breacher, also Notion Thief. I mean, it's one more mana, but it steals the draws, which is a little better.
That's it. Stops them from drawing, and you draw instead. Just such a feel bad. Feel bad is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's like, this sucks for you because I'm about to win this game. Ashiok stops them from searching. Even Stranglehold, Red's getting in on this. They can't take extra turns or search.
Yep, Confounded Conundrum, preventing extra lands from coming in on their turn, preventing even fetch lands from being used. And Narset, another draw prevention, just hanging out in blue.
Yeah, that's what, 2, 4, 6, 8 of them, 9 of them right there.
There's more than that.
I mean, there's plenty.
Those aren't the only options, but those are the best of the best.
Well, those are the options that have colors. You get all the stack stuff in every deck. So if you stack, if you can combine these with the stacks things, then you have twice as many options.
There's also more like a lot of these cards are just they go along in those staple categories. Like Opposition Agent doesn't really synergize with any deck.
No, like no deck.
But it does. It synergizes with a steal your opponent's stuff deck. There's some synergy. Other than that, it's just a good stuff card.
Right. Like, what blue deck is worse with Hull Breacher in it? Right. Where if you have, even if like you open one and you just want to play it, that's still one less cool card you can play. And I'm not saying you shouldn't play Hull Breacher.
Yeah, and you got to make that choice sometimes.
There has to be a cutoff. You're going to end up with 40 lame cards, and then your cage counter card, you're like, I have like 3 cards that have activated abilities. But now, the weaknesses of Grixis. So you were looking at how to play it. There's some directions you can take. But if you're like struggling with Grixis or you find it annoying and you're wondering, what can I do? Well, here's some weaknesses that the Shard generally has.
The first weakness is a lack of creatures. Simply put, they're going to have less creatures on the board usually, and usually those creatures are going to be like Hull Breachers or Dockside Extortionists that they might want to use over again, and cards along those lines that they don't want to die. So when you send in your 5/5, they're not going to have chump blockers.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We don't condone attacking as a primary win condition, but you're at least going to get a bunch of chip damage in. If you have a bunch of creatures in your deck, they probably won't. Marchesa is like the exception. Kess is packed with spells. Marisol's trying to get cage counters, and it's not even just commander specific. It's just the Grixis creatures. There's not a ton that are coming down and are like, all right, I'm going to attack you with it. It's probably more of, I'm going to keep this back because it has a static ability that my deck synergizes with. So they don't really have expendable. How about expendable creatures, right? There's no just tokens flying around.
That's a better way to put it. Yeah, they're not expendable. Those creatures want to stay, other than like Dockside Extortionist doesn't care about time. But other than that, it's like, these have static abilities that I want to keep on the field. So I don't want to be chumping here because that wouldn't be good for me.
Yeah, so generally, if I could say if there's a Grixis deck and then 3 other random decks, probably the player you could most easily attack is the Grixis deck, whether it not looks like that or not.
Yeah, exactly. Next, we have Enchantments. We know that they have great removal on Grixis, but they can't enter enchantments very well. There are a few choice things that can do this, like Chaos Warp and Feed the Swarm, but Feed the Swarm's not very good, and Chaos Warp is good, but it's only 1 card.
Can I just change? Like, Feed the Swarm is terrible. I think that card is really bad. The effect is something I want, but I would rather say Black still has no way to answer enchantments and just not play Feed the Swarm. Like, we're getting there. We'll probably get something in the next year where it's like, oh, wow, this is really efficient. They found a way to make this fairly costed. Feed the Swarm is not good.
Yeah, I think the main problem with it is the sorcery speed. If that card's an instant, that card's great, but it's not an instant, unfortunately, so it's not quite good enough. So if they're going to struggle to answer your enchantments, cards like Aura Silence and Aura Shards are going to be super annoying. They're going to rely on artifacts for ramp, mostly because they're Grixis. They don't have ramp otherwise. So Aura of Silence is going to tax them for each ramp piece they play, and Aura Shards is just going to blow up every ramp piece because if you're playing Aura Shards, you got lots of creatures to play.
Yeah, not only can Aura of Silence is already problematic for opponents because you can never kill it as a 1-for-1 unless you straight up counter it. So once it's out, you just have to go, all right, neutralize it. And they're like, nope, blow up your best thing. 2-for-1 you, in addition to the mana disadvantage. You're only ramping with artifacts, like Joe said. In Grixis, you're going to get really hosed by both of these cards. Aura Shards is probably more frustrating. You're like, if I could just get rid of that. and everyone else is like, nope, and you're just gonna get all your stuff blown up.
Yeah, Ristic Study, Smothering Tide, they're just some of the best enchantments out there. So the fact that you can't answer these on a normal basis without one specific card is going to feel rough.
Yeah, you're gonna struggle against some of the most common staples that you come up against. So you better have some, maybe, better have some counter magic, or you're gonna feel bad, or you're gonna have to politic your way into getting them destroyed.
Yeah, not good.
And just because Smothering Tithe is great doesn't mean Feed the Swarm becomes a playable Magic card.
No, it's, again, I wanted to stress, I think that card, the main problem is it's a sorcery.
And it's a little restrictive. It's like creature or enchantment, just sorcery. Like, if we're doing just creature, we got like 85,000 better things.
I would feel,
and then enchantment is just, it feels like it's not quite there.
I really feel like, I think this card, like for mono black in Grixis where you're going to struggle, I would love that instant. Because it's just like, I'll take the little restriction here to answer that permanent type. Going from 1 to 2 in your deck has to increase the number of times you're going to draw it an insane amount.
Yeah, I mean, the lose life is still kind of a feel bad, though.
Yeah,
it's still not great. You're already trying to pay life generally in mono black, and then there will be chances where like you can't even destroy something.
Yeah, but I don't think Black's relevant enough.
This is the third weakness, ramp. You're pretty shoehorned into playing artifacts and not much else.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get to ramp your lands like you would in a deck along the lines of a green deck. Green decks do this well.
Yeah, Nature's Lore, give me that over any Signet ever, unless I have artifact synergies. And a lot of these Grixis decks, they're not like screaming play a million artifacts.
Yeah, you have tons of mana rocks within this deck. You have to play them or else you're not going to ramp well. Burner's Heart, Solemn, and Wayfarer's Bauble are among the only ways to really ramp your lands efficiently.
Yeah, we like some of the flip lands have been pretty good. Search for Escanta and the Mana Compass, they get out of range, so now they're not artifacts or enchantments when the game gets a little bit later. But you can just take advantage of it so easily. Stony Silence, Collector Oof, they can't ramp.
Yeah, exactly. Those things are going to hurt them a ton. Same thing with like an early, what is the card? Vandalblast. It's going to destroy them. They're going to have, I've played Grixis decks. You get out early and you get on board, you're like, oh, okay, I'm doing this. And boom, they're gone. Everything's gone and you're like 3 lands.
I remember that now. Like, how many times did you get like Bane of Progress and you're just like, I'm done?
Yeah, I'm out of the game pretty much.
Yeah, it takes out your value enchantment and then 3 mana rocks, and you just feel like, what am I supposed to do? So you can pack the Bane of Progresses and an extra Reclamation Sage, and you're going to have definite success against the Grixis decks.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. It hurts.
Yes.
And the last, lack of an identity. This plays off of the commanders doing a lot of different things well. Other than playing good stuff and staples, what is a Grixis deck trying to do? Sometimes it's tough to figure that out.
Yeah, you can't. If we can look at one of the ones we did before, Abzan. It's like, well, that's probably going to have something to do with the graveyard. I can say maybe +1/+1 counters or tokens or any 2 of the 3. Like, those are pretty overarching. Like, that's kind of where Abzan's at. Grixis is like graveyard sometimes, but not all of them. That's probably the closest I can get is something.
Yeah, sometimes it uses the graveyard, sometimes it doesn't. What is it getting from red? I don't know. It's like, what is the identity of Grixis? What does Grixis do?
What about Obeka as Grixis? Like, end the turn. What part of that is red, blue, or like black? I'm just kind of confused as to, like, the lack of identity is going to make, like, when you were more reliant on staples, your deck has less synergy in it. Your deck is going to like go off way less than this elf ball guy over here who's just like this and this and this works together with this, and now I'm drawing 4 cards a turn when it's just way different.
They're more of a good stuff deck rather than, so that is the identity, but like you want synergy tends to trump just overall power.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff is, I would argue good stuff is just not an identity, at least not enough to like satiate me on what am I looking for in Grixis. Oh, just the best stuff? Okay, well, that's kind of boring.
I think good stuff is a deck and it's its own deck, but it's not.
Well, it exists in every color combination can have good stuff.
Yes, I think Grixis just has, again, we've talked about too many staples often will make you build a deck. And I think the reason you get pushed toward all those staples is you're lacking the identity. You have to go, if you go to a deck like Marchesa, what is Marchesa doing well? Well, we understand that she wants to attack and counters, but then after that, it's like, this deck is strange. And there's not a lot of synergies with her.
Like, there's so many, it almost feels like there's so many oddballs that you can't zero in on what Grixis usually does. Like, it's okay to have some oddballs. Like, if there's, I'm not going to go through Abzan commanders, but I'm sure there's one that's like, oh, they really pushed it with that. That's kind of like out of the pie.
There's definitely weird ones. I mean, even like the Lumen guy, I can't think of his name from the...
Yeah, it's like, get back, 3 CMC, but even that one is like, hey, fill your graveyard, sacrifice creatures. It's just, and then Marchesa's like, attack the player with the highest life total. play aristocrats in your blue-red deck.
Play sacrifice, but also active treason's actually pretty good. What?
Yeah,
What's
I
going
don't
on
know.
here?
We could probably talk forever about this because we don't have a script, but I just think overall that kind of hurts it.
Yeah, overall, it's not great because of its lack of identity. I mean, it just pushes you to good stuff. And if you want to play good stuff, Grixis is good for good stuff.
Grixis is a good stuff deck with stuff.
Stuff deck.
That's it.
Yep, that's our video. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable.
You are the lifeblood of this channel. You are the poopy babies, and that is a positive nickname, not a negative nickname.
We've coined that term.
Yes, it is officially not trademarked by us, but if anyone uses it, we hate you.
It's coined. I don't know what that actually means, but we've coined it.
We've coined it.
Coined
It's
it.
spreading like verbal wildfire. So you can go to the TCG player link we have in the description. Guess where it's going to take you? TCGplayer.com. Just like if you Googled it. So instead of Googling it, click the link. You end up there. Whatever you buy off that link now supports the channel. This is just a free roll. You spend $0 extra. I would argue even less time than if you had to Google it. So you save $0, waste 0 seconds, and it's straight up upside. What Magic player could ever resist that?
Let's be very clear. They have obviously wasted less time than Googling it because we know all of you always have a tab open to the Nitpicking Nerds page. Easy clicks. What, 2 clicks? You click on one of our videos, click on the link.
1.5 clicks. Let's average it out. 1.5 clicks.
Yeah, because sometimes you're already on a video.
Yeah, and then it's 0 clicks.
Oh, it takes 1 click to get to the site.
Average of 1.5 clicks. This has been scientifically proven in the analytics of everything. So click on it and see what you're missing.
Yeah. That's our
Tidbit.
video. Tidbit. I guess Buffalo Bills are off to the AFC Championship game.
They're certainly doing good. I don't know if they're a favorite to win. I don't know anything.
Chiefs are favored to win if their quarterback plays, but Patrick Mahomes went down yesterday with a concussion. Yesterday with a concussion, and he's like their best player by far.
I was talking about like who, obviously there's people who don't care. They have no team affiliations. They're just looking at the numbers. Which team is most likely to win the Super Bowl? What is there, 8 left?
Yeah, I think, Kansas City is probably the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Unless their quarterback's hurt.
Right.
Then I don't know who'd be a favorite to beat.
Who's in the other conference?
Playing yesterday and not right now when we're recording is I don't know which team won because I forgot, and not because it's happening right now.
So one of those.
The Buccaneers and the Saints are playing right now. We don't know who's going to win out of them. And Green Bay's they're going to be hosting the NFC Championship.
Ooh.
I think the most poetic thing that could happen for the
Buccaneers?
Buffalo Bills would be for the Buffalo Bills to play the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl and win.
Beat Brady.
Yeah, that would be the most poetic thing for Bills fans everywhere.
I don't know if I can handle it. Honestly, the other day we won, and it was like 11:30 at night. And I'm down here recording something before I'm going to bed, and there's people just beeping horns and like shooting off fireworks. I'm just like, please stop.
Yeah, they would definitely. You could. I hear the fireworks at my house as well.
There is such a thing as going too far.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy. Like I've gotten all the stress. Like when I was a younger lad, the stress of watching a Bills game was high for me. I would get angry and I would get really into it. Like I was watching it with my friend of the channel, Ken, and he's getting it's like, Joe, we're gonna lose. I'm like, let's watch the game.
It happens.
Yeah, I'm like I would love the Bills to win. I want them to win, but I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm not gonna get stressed out about it. I used to, believe me.
You're not gonna audibly harass people if they win.
I used to get I never audibly harass people, but I would yell at the TV.
Well, you can yell.
TV.
I'm talking about in the space of your own home, you can make whatever noise you want. But we're talking you're not gonna shoot fireworks off if they win.
Or
to me, that is noise pollution.
Aren't fireworks literal noise pollution?
I think so.
How could they not be?
I don't know. I don't know what the exact definition of noise pollution, or if that's even a thing. Although I think it is.
No, noise pollution is a real thing.
But it's not there's not the earth isn't worse off because you're making noise. It's kind of senseless noise.
Sure.
I think if you just, I don't know.
I don't have.
We're really not experts. See, our expertise tends to lean towards Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And not so much on noise pollution definitions.
Yeah. So let us know in the description what you think of noise pollution.
They can't edit the description.
No. Peace out.
They'd have to let us know in the comments.
You're right. You'll have to let us know in the comments below. You're right. We edit that. Peace out, Tribe Scout.